Honestly, I have been playing Warframe like nonstop the last few days. Hey everyone, it's Spopes. As the gaming industry continues to decline and our favorite games keep falling by the wayside, I realized there was only one title I could actually trust to keep going and improve over time, and that's Warframe. Many of you know me from my work on the Elder Scrolls Online as a content creator, and I want to assure you all right off the bat that I'm not going to stop covering ESO. As we all know, though, the Elder Scrolls Online is not in a particularly great spot right now, which means it's time for me to expand my content creation horizons. So in the following condensed down excerpt from a recent stream, I'm going to cover the reasons behind my return to Warframe, how it differs from the Elder Scrolls Online, what each game does well, and what Warframe might do better. Before I get into it, please do like, hype, and sub, and consider upgrading your support with a membership, a merch purchase, or a donation. So as I've been sitting here thinking about the Elder Scrolls Online and what has happened to it, the layoffs and everything, I realized I never intended to have all my eggs in one basket. And now is really not the time to have all my eggs in one basket. So I've been getting feedback from the community, and I've been going through in my head all the games I've ever played and all the ones I haven't played too. All the games that are out there that are roughly tangential with what I'm already playing, that my audience already knows of and likes. And so probably at least a few of you remember that way back in the day, I started my channel with Diablo 4. However, Diablo 4 has become a complete lolcow now, especially with the recent updates to the endgame and how it works. It's just a joke. I can't put any authentic energy into covering that game because I'm so annoyed with it. I defended it for years, but I just can't anymore. And so then everyone's like, play Path of Exile 2. And I just don't find that game to be fun. I didn't like Path of Exile 1. It just doesn't fit, and I don't like the gameplay loop. I don't like the way the gameplay feels in Path of Exile 2. So then there's Guild Wars 2, which I feel like is in a pretty healthy state, but I am a PS5 player. But if I want to do Guild Wars 2 or World of Warcraft, which is also like in a terrible spot right now, apparently, from what I've heard, I would need to build a PC, which because of the AI bubble and everything costing 5 times what it should, literally 5 times, I'm not going to do that right now. And there are others. There are other games out there that I could try, mostly that are on PC or that I honestly just really don't like. So as I was going through my options here, I remembered a game that long ago I absolutely loved. I'm talking like 6 years ago. 6 years ago was the last time I played this game. But at the time, I was pretty obsessed with it. I started looking back into Warframe. But I was like, okay, so is this actually worth investing some time into? Should I get to the bottom of this, figure out what I've been missing, figure out how to catch up? And the answer is yes. And the reason the answer is yes is because I was at first pretty shocked and confused by this. But Warframe is probably the healthiest and most popular live service game in the world right now. Out of all of them, out of the huge ones, you know, I guess you could even call Call of Duty live service, right? World of Warcraft, the biggest games, even Fortnite. Fortnite is huge, but it's struggling at the moment. So unless you're looking at alpha and Zoomer sandbox games like Minecraft and Roblox, which I just detest, I just can't, there's no way I'm going to transition to a Roblox creator, okay? But Warframe, I had loved for a long time, and it is so absurdly healthy right now. And not just healthy in terms of they've tricked lots of players to come play it, healthy as in their basic model of success is sustainable and actually highly commendable. I'm going to explain why I've started playing Warframe again, compare it to the Elder Scrolls Online, and explain why you are going to see some Spopes Warframe content here in the near future. I do want to explicitly say that I am not abandoning the Elder Scrolls Online. I am still actively working on putting out evergreen guides and content. I'm going to cover major news, especially about the layoffs, but I might be pulling back a little bit to make some time and some room to cover other things and expand my horizons. So without further ado, let's boot up Warframe. Honestly, I have been playing Warframe like nonstop the last few days, like trying to figure out how to catch up, all the things that I missed. ESO has been like a forge for me, where I've been tempered by all the love and the hate, where I have mastered my craft, and I'm finally ready to enter a bigger pond here. I am good at what I do. Am I the greatest of all time? Probably not. But I'm just being objective here. I probably could be eventually. And, my goal here, the one content creator who I actually really respect and who I'm trying to emulate is Lucky Ghost, who also started out with the Elder Scrolls Online, still does content on it, but he has expanded his horizons. And that's what we're starting to do here. We're going to start with just kind of giving an overview of what I'm doing here. So here I have my Nidus, and Nidus just recently got a major rework. So he's completely different now. You can get some more mutation stacks. You're basically unkillable. If you have at least 15 stacks of mutation, you won't die. I always just love the aesthetics of Nidus. I need to get some actual good endgame weapons, but right now I am rocking the Ignis Wraith, Aximati Prime, and Cronin Prime. And man, I have just been having so much fun. I want to compare and contrast Warframe with the Elder Scrolls Online. Obviously, the setting is different, but one of the other major differences is there is no actual open world. There are no zones you can go to and from. There are a few open world style areas, but that's the best you're going to get. There's no sense of this huge cohesive world you can go throughout to all these different areas. In that way, it can feel kind of constraining. And that's why I feel like ESO is always going to be part of my life as a content creator to some degree, for that feeling of vast, sweeping distance and exploration. So some people say that Warframe is an MMO, but it's really not. What it is it's a cooperative RPG or a CO RPG, kind of like the original Guild Wars was and what probably Guild Wars 3 is going to end up being. Also kind of like what Diablo 4 is, or even Diablo 3. It is not a true MMO in the sense that you have this huge world you can just go explore, meet random people. The one place you can just kind of meet random people is in the open world areas or in relays like this. But it is not an actual MMO. That's one of the main differences. But I feel like it, in most ways, has the same functionality as an MMO. And in some ways, I feel like it can be even more social than a true MMO like the Elder Scrolls Online. Another huge difference between Warframe and ESO is Warframe is at the peak of development. It is the unicorn in the live service industry, where there is really no other game that is being developed as effectively and ethically as Warframe. So while in many ways I may love the Elder Scrolls Online more, or simply in different ways than I like Warframe, I respect Warframe a lot more right now than I respect the Elder Scrolls Online, and probably more than I'll respect the Elder Scrolls Online for a long time in the future at this point. Unless the layoffs can get them to turn themselves around and really make the game amazing, I will probably continue respecting Warframe more for the foreseeable future. What's really different about Warframe is it seems like the developers actually play and love the game. In the Elder Scrolls Online, the developers do neither of those things. They neither play the game, so they're not familiar with it, and they don't seem to love it, they just love the paychecks they get from it. Another thing that's really different with Warframe compared to ESO is there's actual vertical progression. Ever since 1 Tamriel in the Elder Scrolls Online, difficulty has essentially been flattened, except when it comes to veteran content or PvP. But here, enemies really do level and scale. And there's a significant difference between, say, a level 120 enemy on Steel Path and a level 20 enemy or a level 40 enemy in the normal star chart. So that's something I've missed in the Elder Scrolls Online for a long time, is enemies actually having levels. And it's very satisfying coming back to a game where enemies do have levels. The level matters. They are easier or harder depending on the level they have. And something else that's really different about Warframe compared to basically any other game except maybe Path of Exile 2 is its extreme complexity. The mod screen can be overwhelming for new players, and understandably. But between mods and arcanes, which, don't judge my arcanes, I know they're bad, all the different weapons, the types of weapons, all the other different layers that have been added to the game over time, all the just huge number of currencies. There are just so many different kinds of currencies. There's so many different things you can do with them. All the different kinds of crafting, the helmet system, etc. They just keep layering on so many different content types that it can be overwhelming. But that is honestly a good thing for a content creator like me. There are a lot of things to explain. And we haven't even gotten to the appearance and fashion aspect yet. And also, I haven't really gotten into the story content too much yet, the stuff that I've missed, but the narratives in the quests seem to be actually compelling. Well written, engaging, interesting, and from what I understand, from what I've seen from the community, it's getting better over time. The new content, the new quests are getting better. Not every single thing they put out there is perfect, but the story content is robust and seems to be getting progressively better over time. Something else that's really worth bringing up, especially in comparison to ESO, is Warframe's premium market is widely acclaimed as being the fairest in the live service gaming space. Especially for new stuff, there are some items you can only buy for cold hard cash. But for the most part, you can get everything in the game with Platinum, which you can also earn. Platinum is very easy to earn through external trading sites like Warframe.market. It's kind of like trading crowns in ESO, but it is directly condoned within the game. And you can get essentially everything without ever having to pay a cent of actual real money. And then this is kind of a positive and a negative. There's actually a meaningful track for progression within the game where your mastery rank matters, and you generally have to do the story content in a particular order. Now, I say it's a good and a bad thing because one of the nice things in a way about ESO is you can tackle the story content in any order you like, but that does sort of lead to a sense of meaninglessness in terms of progression, where you can do anything whenever you want. It's kind of hard to figure out what you're actually supposed to do at any given time, but there are levels to the enemies, your mastery rank matters, and you have to do the content in a certain order. Just a major difference between this and ESO that has both positives and negatives. And something else kind of connected with talking about the currency marketplace, the Platinum marketplace, is there is no subscription for this game. It is 100% free to buy. And there is no subscription. And again, everything you want, you can buy with Platinum. Like 99% of items you can just buy with Platinum. And as you're looking at this chat here, you will see that there are people from all sorts of different ecosystems all chatting in the same global chat at the same time. That's because Warframe has flawless crossplay and cross progression. You can play it on mobile, on Nintendo Switch, on Mac, PC, basically anything that can play games on it has an internet connection. You can play Warframe on it, and you all play together in the same unified ecosystem, which is, I really think, one of the biggest strengths of the game and why it has become so successful over time. Something else that's really refreshing coming to Warframe from ESO is that the game has a clear trajectory and it has a clear future ahead of it. Where especially with the layoffs, you really don't know what's going to happen to ESO in the future. But Warframe is so popular and so successful, it's definitely going to keep going for a long time past this point. There's practically zero concern about that. There might be some people out there who are Warframe doomers, but they are very few and far between. This game is extremely healthy and has a clear future ahead of it. But one way that ESO and Warframe are very similar is they both have trouble onboarding new or returning players. There's a relatively new system in the game called the Teacher that does let you know a few things that you need to do at the beginning of the game if you're brand new to Warframe. But as far as returning players go, there's basically no system in place to tell them what to do. This is a problem in the Elder Scrolls Online too, where they keep putting these golden pursuits that really don't help onboard players. I think with any game of this level of complexity and size, that's going to be an issue. It's going to be difficult. But I would call upon both Warframe and ESO to improve their new player and returning player onboarding processes. Something that is definitely very different between Warframe and ESO is how robust and comprehensive the settings section is in the game. There are tons and tons of settings, and you can actually search for them. So if I want to do something related to the camera, I can just search for that, and then every camera-related setting shows up on my screen. Very useful, and the settings are so in-depth and complex, you can change basically everything to do with the game from one simple screen. I really wish that ESO had a similar search functionality in the settings, or even a search functionality in achievements, that would make everything a lot easier to find in the game. Something they could take a leaf from Warframe's book in doing. And then one thing I like both about Warframe and ESO is just the immense level of cosmetic customization. You can buy every cosmetic for Platinum, I'm pretty sure, and there are tons and tons of colors or dyes that use buy for Platinum instead of hunting them down through achievements in ESO. But you can achieve basically any look you want, and each Warframe has tons and tons of different looks, different skins, there are different stances. There is an immense amount of customization in terms of your appearance in this game, which there also is in ESO, but I feel like it's even more robust in Warframe. Nidus, for instance, changes his appearance based on how many mutation stacks he has, and you can preview the mutation on or off in the customization screen. The last thing I want to talk about is the very different setting between the games, which I think can be one of the most difficult things for people who are used to high fantasy games like ESO to get over if they do want to try a transition. This is a sci-fi game, essentially. Warframe is, but it does have a lot of fantasy elements as well. It's kind of like a sci-fi noir fantasy setting where it's so far in the future, there's nothing really, it's almost like Dune in that way, where there's basically no real connection with human society as we know it now. I hear there is kind of a retro thing that came into the game recently, the 1999 stuff, where you do kind of go back in time or something like that, and it's a little bit more recent culture kind of themed. But I'd say whether it's space or fantasy, the main thing we're trying to achieve here is separation from our own real world. And Warframe and ESO both do that effectively in their own different ways. A lot of the cosmetics in Warframe are made by community members, and the profits at least partially go to them. So you can actually make money in Warframe by designing new items, new skins, new Warframe skins. Just another way the community is involved and rewarded in Warframe that I feel like is pretty unique. I haven't heard of anything else like this in the gaming industry, where player skins are actually put in the game and then the players get paid for when people buy their skins. It's crazy. And the last thing I want to do, and it's going to be kind of cringe because I don't know what I'm doing, is showcase the combat and the movement systems. So we're going to go ahead and jump into arbitration. Yeah, my 7-year-old son came in the room last night when I was playing this. He said, wow, I like how fast you move. And you really do. Like, especially compared to something like ESO, you are just zipping around here. And the combat, there's so much variety to it. You can just focus entirely on your guns. You can focus entirely on your Warframe's abilities. You can mix them all together. But yeah, the movement, the barrel jump, which you can also do, straight up and then just hang there in the air. It's very satisfying coming from a much more limited game like ESO in terms of movement, where, again, there's so much to love about ESO, but you cannot do a vertical barrel jump and then hang in the air. That's just something you cannot do. You cannot jump onto a wall and cling to it and then jump off again. So all the ninja parkour movement mechanics in the game are great. The combat is excellent. It's a lot like, what you might know from games like Destiny, but it's even more fast-paced. It's even more satisfying. And again, there's such huge variety. Each frame has its own combat style. There are various different types of melee weapons, different types of primary and secondary weapons. If you get bored with one type of combat, there's always something else to move on to. Yeah, crazy movement, diverse combat. It can get kind of repetitive doing the same kinds of tile sets and everything over and over again. But if it does, you just switch out which frame or weapon you're using, and you have a whole new world to explore. The controls on PS5 are amazing too. That's another important part to mention here. It actually uses the touchpad on the controller, which is really rare. Hardly any games actually use the touchpad, but you can use that to control which ability you're using, which otherwise is pretty annoying, but they put something in there to fix that annoyance. Yeah, really more than anything, I don't feel like Warframe is a good replacement of the Elder Scrolls Online, and I hope ESO sticks around for years and gets better as a result of the layoffs, but I do feel like they complement each other really well. Where Warframe doesn't have an open world for you to go explore, at least not really, ESO does, but where there's no vertical movement or fast-paced movement in ESO, you do have that in Warframe. Another thing I really feel like is worth mentioning about Warframe is just how much it has improved over time and how much it continues to improve. And that again harkens back to the community responsiveness, how basically the game is run by the community, but also they found ways to make Warframe fresh over the years with visual refreshes to various frames and weapons. They're obviously focused on the longevity of the game and its future, which is definitely much appreciated. So those are my thoughts on Warframe versus the Elder Scrolls Online and why I've decided to incorporate Warframe into my content lineup. Essentially, the ultimate reason behind this pivot is I genuinely do love Warframe. I loved it once many years ago, and that love has now been rekindled. Especially with recent ESO content being so lackluster, this is where my passion truly is. And as a content creator, I strive for authenticity, meaning I want to share what I'm truly passionate about. Again, I just want to reiterate, I am not abandoning the Elder Scrolls Online. I'm going to keep following it closely because that's another game that I absolutely love. And I wish the best for it. I hope it improves in the future. But Warframe has a dedicated audience. It is very player-centric, and it keeps getting better over time. So combined with my natural love of this game, I decided now is the time to get back into Warframe, start experiencing everything new in the game, and start sharing everything I've learned with all of you. In the comments, let us know what you think about Warframe. Whether you're a Warframe player just stumbling on my channel for the first time, whether you're a longtime Spopes subscriber who mainly plays the Elder Scrolls Online, do let us know your thoughts on both games and what you think about my pivot to a wider universe of content. Especially let us know what kind of Warframe content you'd like to see from Spopes. I am planning to run through the new War questline on stream sometime soon, and I have around 5 to 10 guides that I've already planned to make. But if you have any pain points you'd like me to address, anything you'd like to hear from a returning player's perspective who hasn't played since 2020, do let us know in the comments. And also before you go, please do like, hype, and sub. And I'd really appreciate it if you take our support a step further with a Spopes Army membership. Plans are affordable, but I give you great perks. You can also share your support of Spopes to the world with some of the merch listed below the video. And on my Fourth Wall site, there's a full catalog. Plus on Fourth Wall, you can leave donations, in addition to the option of leaving donations here on YouTube in the form of super thanks. I really do appreciate all your support, and for those who are new to the channel, this might come as something of a surprise. But I am even more grateful to God, and I always end my videos with a prayer. So thank you, Lord Jesus, for making it possible to make this video. Let us pray. Lord Christ, thank you for the inspiration and the breath in my lungs to make this video today. Thank you for Warframe and the Elder Scrolls Online. Please do bless both games and their developers. Thank you for my channel and my community. Please help this video reach many people in the Warframe community. Empower it to help people in the ESO community understand my pivot and that they won't be abandoned. Lord, please do bless this video and my community. Bless everyone watching this video. Bless all souls around the world. Draw them closer to you. Help us follow in your way and your will. Lord Jesus, I give you all glory for this video and for my channel. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Thanks so much for watching until the end. Before you go, please do like, hype, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'll be back soon with new content.